Hey, badass business owners. Welcome back to the show. If you happen to have a small business serving your local community, then you have found the right home for you. Today, I want to talk about the two different people that live inside of you. The first one is the passionate business owner. This is the person that just loves what it is that you do. And you get excited every single day to get up and do whatever it is that you do or find new ways to do it. You just love everything about it. But then on the other hand, the other person that should be living in you is the logical, methodical business owner. And the problem is a lot of times these two are fighting, or one of them gets pushed aside. And unfortunately, the one that gets pushed aside is typically going to be the methodical, business numbers driven side of you. Let me explain. When you become a business owner, one of the things that you sign up for is to think and act like a business owner. And the problem is a lot of times people take something that they love to do or they love to provide and they turn it into a business. That's not a bad thing. You're going to do it every single day for a long time. You need to be passionate and love what it is that you do. The problem is that passion oftentimes gets in the way and we make dumb decisions in our business, which end up costing us not only time, but more importantly, money. Because yes, that great idea you have might drive more sales, but if it doesn't drive more profits, then it's not the right thing to do. And I'm going to give a couple of examples here in a few minutes. Whereas the business owner in you, the CEO, the numbers-driven side of you, a lot of times gets pushed aside because, one, we get caught up in the day-to-day of running the business. But what happens is that person needs to be screaming out every time the passionate you gets a crazy dumb idea. That business side of you needs to jump out and say, hey, dum-dum, let's stop for a second and run the numbers. Does this make sense? Now, don't get me wrong, you need that passionate person inside of you because that keeps the business moving. And oftentimes, some of the greatest ideas you'll have in your business come from the passionate business side of you. So I'm not saying that side of you is a bad thing. The problem is you need to start dusting off and bringing out more often the numbers driven. Here's one that I see all of the time. We get excited about our business and we discover an equipment, a piece of software, we want another truck, whatever the thing is. And we're like, oh my God, if I just had this in my business, I could totally expand my business, or I could take on all these new sales. I could do all of this. And we run out and because we've been doing really good, we got a stockpile of money in our business and we go out and we buy this. Or even worse, we put it on credit. Oh, no. We do not want to do things on credit. Remember, we're trying to run profitable businesses. We want to try to stay as debt-free as possible, but that's a topic for another day. But either way, we go out and we get this piece of equipment. And by the way, when you guys get passionate about stuff, you don't get passionate about something that's $100. No, you have to go out and get passionate about something that's thousands of dollars, whether it's $2,000, $10,000, or a $25,000 or even a $60,000 truck. When you guys get passionate, and you go big or go home. The problem is, once again, you did not consult with the person who is inside of you that is the business numbers driven person, and you never ran those numbers. Because remember, let's just say you go out and you purchase something for $1,000. That doesn't mean it has to turn around and make have you create $1,000 sale or sales of $1,000. It's based off of your profits, because if you're only putting 20% to the bottom line, you've got to create $1,000 worth of profit to pay for it. And I'd much rather you sit back and then say, okay, not only do I have to create, in this case, 5 more jobs just to be able to break even on this thing, because think of it, if you have to create profit, and let's just say this $1,000 item only creates sales of $100, well, that means because you have a profit margin of 20%, that means out of that $100, you're setting aside $20. That means you have to set aside so many $20 profits to get to that $1,000. And when you think about that, that's a lot of sales. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up my handy little calculator here and divide it really quick. That means your first 50 sales at that $100 for this $1,000 piece of equipment, your first 50 sales are for free. because you're going to take all the profits and you're going to put it towards the purchase of this thing. Now, if this thing's going to create 300, 400 sales for you in that first year, it's probably worth the jump. But once again, you've got to run the numbers, because at the end of the day, it's just going to allow you to get one more sale per month. It's not going to work out. But because we're so hell-bent on getting it, because we're so excited at what it can do, we don't run those numbers. Now, that doesn't mean eventually you can't get it or you shouldn't get it, but then again, it might. This is one I get all the time. Well, it's going to help me because I have to turn down one person every few weeks who need this service. Okay, then say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you're buying a 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 whatever piece of equipment because you have to turn down a client or a customer every 2 weeks, that's not a bad thing, depending upon what it is. Now, if you're going to go out and you're going to buy a $3,000 piece of equipment and it's going to allow you to do these jobs that create $5,000 in profit or $3,000 in profit, I'm going to listen a lot more, as long as it's something you're going to do on a regular basis. So that way, not only does it get paid for, but it creates new sales, but more importantly, more profits. Remember, folks, I'm going to say this over and over. It isn't about what you sell. It's about what you keep. Sales minus cost of goods minus expenses equals profits. And profits at the end of the day is the business doing well. Now, remember, just because you're paying yourself as the employee, and this is why everybody gets screwed up, is they're like, oh, I did this job and I put $100 in my pocket. Well, if out of the $100 you put in your pocket, 80 of it was because you were an employee in the business getting paid for doing the work that you did, the company only made $20 of profit. And that's where, when we're running the numbers, we fail to account that just because you're making $100, that doesn't mean the company made $100 in profit. You have to separate out the two wages and the two types of money that you're putting in your pocket, because it's falsely letting you think that you're making more money than what you really are. You're getting paid two ways. The employee side of you is getting paid and the business owner you is getting paid. And when you go out and you buy that equipment or you go out and do something passionate, it gets in your way and it costs you money. Another thing, a lot of times what will happen is the passionate business owner will say, hey, I really care about this, or I really feel strongly that I should buy a bunch of these items because I'm going to sell them. You need to still step back and you still need to run the numbers. There's people that have garages or back storage rooms or storage sheds full of crap that they thought they could sell because the passionate one inside of them got ahead of the game and said, I can do this. I can sell tons of these things. And meanwhile, they're sitting on all this inventory because guess what? It didn't pan out. And what do I say about inventory that's just sitting around? It's money sitting on a shelf. It's money you can't use, money you can't put in the pocket, you can't put in the bank. And more importantly, you can't buy more inventory with it because until you sell it. Once again, the passionate you got ahead of the business owner you. And I'm going to bet that during this conversation, talking about when the passionate you takes over and the business owner, business number you didn't jump in, you all probably have an example. Can you think of an example right now where the passionate you got ahead of the game and bought something or did something or tackled something or attempted something that ended up costing you money in the long run, or that's sitting in your garage or your storage or your back office, whatever the case may be, gathering dust because you purchased it before you thought it through? It happens all the time. And by the way, you're not exempt from that. Big businesses do it too, and they even run some of the numbers. So it makes you human, but I really need you, when you get really excited about something, just take a pause. Take a pause and ask yourself, all right, I'm very passionate about this. I'm excited about this. I really think this is going to be great for my business. And then just take a pause and bring into the conversation the business numbers, business owner side of you. Let them be part of that conversation. Work out the pros and cons. Don't just say, yeah, and then keep doing it. Really change your hats in the middle of it and feel yourself physically change your hat into that business owner side and really go through and ask yourself, does it make sense? Because the passionate you can definitely overwhelm the other side of you. Because when you get all that excitement and that adrenaline running through you, guess what? You ain't listening to anybody else. And this happens in life, not just in business. Listen, folks, you need both of you to live inside of you. You need that passionate business owner to be in you, to fuel you, to get you up every single day, and to get you to go out there and slay it when you're working. But you also need that business owner in you, because guess what? You are running a business. And at the end of the day, it is about the business profits, not just about what you put into your pocket, because a lot of times, like I said, that is misleading. Those are employee wages that you made, not business owner wages. And I have sat down with some of the most passionate business owners I've ever met. And when we've gone through the business numbers, they are so lost and clueless when it comes down to the profits of the business. And then ultimately they realize that they haven't been making money for a while. That yes, their bank accounts got money in it, but that's just because they keep paying themselves out of money that really is part of their cost of goods of them being the employee. All right. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to keep preaching on this. I think you understand what I'm talking about. Listen, folks, embrace that passionate business owner, please. But please also bring into the conversation anytime you're about to do something big in your company, and make sure that the business owner, CEO side of you also jumps into the conversation, also runs the numbers, and make sure that it makes sense. And if it does, then go for it. Both of you shake hands and run with it. Go forth, prosper, make tons of sales, and make more profit than you can imagine off of this wonderful, great idea. Now, that doesn't mean the business owner needs to hold down the passionate person, but they need to slow down that passionate person, because I want you to keep that passionate side of you, because honestly, that's what keeps you from getting bored and hating your business. But you also can get bored and hating your business because you're not making any money. And that's probably why you've been making decisions wearing the wrong hat. All right, with that, I am out of here, and we will talk next week on the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, badass business owner, before you go, as you know, I'm a huge believer in you knowing your business numbers. After all, it isn't about how much you sell, it's about what you keep. And the best way to grow your profits is to start diving in and understanding those business numbers. To help you on this journey, I have created the Know Your Business Numbers course. We will walk through how to read your profit and loss statement. You'll learn the key calculations that'll help ensure that you're making a healthy profit on all of your products or services, plus a ton of other good stuff that'll help you learn how to use those business numbers to create even more sales and profits. Just check out the link below in the show notes, or visit knowyourbusinessnumberscourse.com. So if you're ready to increase those profits, it's time you start diving into your business numbers.